can see on the left there, Gerard getting himself settled in. On the right, David Bauer wearing a, I would say, a festive shirt for the day, because I believe that today is indeed St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day, Adrian.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to you, Joey.
We'll have to celebrate somehow. Maybe we'll watch some Magic. Celebrate by watching the semifinals, and then the finals, and then Legacy all day.
And if you're looking at the screen, typing furiously in the background is the one and only Ruben Bressler. And you might know him as Mox Ruby, R-E-U-B-Y, on the Twitter. But speaking of Twitter, make sure that you are following us on Twitter, at SCG Live.
Yes.
And SCG Live and the hashtag SCGDC. We make sure to follow what is going on in that in the SCG Live Twitter feed, so that, for example, if there are any concerns, questions, comments, we make sure to pay attention and relay those on. I know that, for example, yesterday there was concern about the proper tapping of mana, and that information was relayed to the judges that were at that table for covering that match. And in that particular instance, it did happen that that player appears to have tapped, for those of you who are interested, to have tapped their mana such that they could not have cast a spell that was cast, but it did not impact the match in any way. There was one extra point of damage that they were able to deal that turn, but they easily overkilled by many points of damage when they did do the kill. So thank you everyone that was paying attention, and we did relay that information right away.
Yeah, you can tweet at us, as Adrian mentioned, so you can do that at SCG Live, of course. And also, keep in mind, we're going to be giving away more premium. We did it last night. We gave away 3 months. We're going to give away 6 months here in the semifinals. After Game 1, we will ask you a trivia question. You tweet in your answer and have the opportunity to win 6 months of free SCG premium. And we'll be doing it again in the finals. After this, we'll be giving away a year of premium. So stay tuned for that. Looks like, well, David Bauer's ready.
Yep, and Gerard was ready, but I think what ended up happening is that Gerard decided he needed to go for a walk, hang out, talk with some friends.
Yeah.
Now, all players in these top 8s do have one nice thing that they can make sure that they do, is they get to look at each other's deck lists. So there are no more surprises for any of these players.
Yeah, they know exactly what their opponents are playing. Don't need to be shocked by something like, Undying Evil or something coming out of somebody's...
some sort of crazy card.
deck that, nobody ever plays. So, these guys are aware of it. Now, this matchup, I don't really know that there are tons of surprises. Anyway, at least not on David's side. On Gerard's side, he does, again, have some of those one-ofs. So, for instance, once David sees Devour Flesh in Game 1, he knows there's no other Devour Flesh in Gerard's deck. There is another card like it, Tribute to Hunger, 2 copies of that, so, he can kind of be aware of how much he needs to play around. And we're underway. David Bauer, turn 1, Avacyn's Pilgrim. Gerard.
Turn 1, Watery Grave.
Yeah. Alongside a Morph creature. And a Lingering Souls, turn 2 for David Bauer. He is he's off to a great start. 2 spirits come into play. Gerard draws another Watery Grave. He's got his land drops. I could definitely see that. He's got a Syncopate. He's got a Think Twice. He's got another Syncopate. I believe he's got a Dimir Charm. You saw, yeah, Angel of Serenity off the top for David.
Syncopate is a very good card in the early game for Gerard's Esper control deck, but one of the things that's kind of problematic here is Gerard is on the draw. He's always going to be a little bit behind in mana, and particularly with that Avacyn's Pilgrim in play, he might not actually get a good opportunity to use that Syncopate. You can see a Lotleth Troll there, and the Syncopate again in his hand, but not particularly effective because of David Bauer's mana advantage.
And yeah, we're going to see if the Lotleth Troll does the work that it's purported to do. A Dimir Charm for the Avacyn's Pilgrim from Gerard at the end of turn, and that will potentially get Gerard's syncopates, or just strengthen his syncopates. And Gerard plays land go. I believe that's a drowned catacomb there. Looks a lot like a watery grave. There you see Lotleth Troll. Pretty big deal when it was first spoiled and initially released in Return to Ravnica. A lot of people very excited about that card. Black-green zombies was supposed to be, you know, the deck, but it didn't last long.
It didn't materialize, but I mean, the card itself still very good.
That's exactly what I was going to say. A 2/1 for 2 trample, and you can pump it, and you get that discard outlet plus regeneration.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here with Joey Pasco. And on the left, Gerard Fabiano. On the right, David Bauer. These two players in the top 4 here are semifinal match, the first match of this morning's Sunday broadcast of the Star City Games Open Series in Washington, D.C.
And there you see a Restoration Angel mid-combat from Gerard, going to get in front of that troll and present a problem for David, or maybe an opportunity. David's considering his options. Now, he's got some guys in hand to discard. He's got the Angel of Serenity we saw him draw, and I believe he discards that and an Avacyn's Pilgrim to pump the Lotleth Troll big enough to destroy the Angel in combat, and now he is going to regenerate the Troll. So Gerard able to negate that attack and force David to do some things perhaps he wasn't prepared to do, but he does save his Troll.
And that Troll, the thing that's crazy about the Troll is this is not a wild mongrel style growth for those of you who were around way back in the day. This is not a temporary growth for that Troll. That Troll gains counters and it maintains the size from that discard, which is really crazy, especially when you consider that it also has trample.
Yeah, it's you know, Wild Mongrel at the time was considered to be one of the best creatures of all time, and
Yeah.
Lotleth Troll pretty much outclasses it on every level.
Well, I mean,
Almost. It kind
yeah,
of
I mean, it does cost 2 colors of mana.
Right.
There
That's
we
why I
go.
said almost every level. Still 2 mana, and it is only a 2/1 instead of a 2/2.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and let's see. If you want to, a Wild Mongrel
Changes
will
colors.
never ever be affected by Celestial Purge.
There you go. I said almost. That was
I
these are all the
know,
things
I
that
know.
I meant. So I believe it is Gerard's turn at the moment. He is considering his options. He definitely has a land drop. We know that he hasn't hit it yet this turn because he played a Restoration Angel last turn. But down to 11, facing down, looks like 8 power worth of creatures. And he's going to go ahead and Supreme Verdict, let the Troll regenerate. I think that was what a lot he was thinking about, the fact that that Troll sticks around through the Supreme Verdict. That is a pain. And Gerard gets hit by that Troll. Should be down to 7 here, and Unburial Rites on Angel of Serenity from David Bauer.
Ouch.
And yeah, this isn't looking great for Gerard.
Another Supreme Verdict would be just fine here, though. If he's got a second one.
Still would end up with a regenerated Troll.
Oh yeah,
but,
this is true. This is true.
It would help.
No Terminus in Gerard Fabiano's main deck.
3 copies of Supreme Verdict. We've seen 1. Gerard plays a land, and it looks like it may have been maybe a Hallowed Fountain. He played untapped. And some thinking going on here. Now, we don't know exactly what's in Gerard's hand. I know he's got 2 Syncopates. That's the only information I know about his hand. I believe he's got at least 1, possibly a few more other cards. But I see an Azorius Charm.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
That's yeah, that's something. That Angel just grabbed a couple of Avacyn's Pilgrims.
Yep.
It looks like.
So the Angel itself, while a big monster and also able to reclaim some of those lost cards for David, it's not bringing back something, should it leave play, it's not going to give David back something truly frightening.
Now, what is sort of frightening is if Gerard uses Azorius Charm on that Angel, those Avacyn's Pilgrims come back to David's hand, still mid-combat, and he can discard them to the Troll to make the Troll up to a 6 power. Now, it doesn't change the clock unless David has another creature in hand, because he can just discard his guys for the win, and that was an old Wild Mongrel trick, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's unblocked. Discard my hand. Kill you. So Azorius Charm goes for the Troll.
And the Troll is going to go back
just
on
as
top.
it gets the as it gets the larger die, so we can see the number. So Angel's going to get in here for 5. So Gerard very aware of the possibility of giving David 2 more creatures to pump the Troll. So at 2 life, Gerard Fabiano, is he going to be able to stabilize, or are we going to game 2? I think he just top decked a land. I see a tragic slip there.
Jonathan
I think it's
Parman.
a tragic slip.
I think you're correct.
Actually, no. You know what? I don't think it is. I think it was a Nephalia Drownyard. It just has
Really?
that purplish look.
I saw something similar.
I'm just looking. There's also no tragic slip in Gerard's
Then
deck,
it cannot be a tragic
He's
slip.
got 2 on the board, but this is game 1. But I'm pretty sure that's a Drownyard now that I get a little better angle on it.
From Twitter, Jonathan Parmenter chimes in on our Wild Mongrel thing, saying that the Mongrel probably could have been purged because it would normally change to black. But, as we were saying, it wouldn't be purged unless you wanted it to.
Or unless you let it.
Unless you let it.
So David top decks Lotless Troll. How strange is that after getting Azorius Charmed?
And Gerard with no
Yeah.
other... a frustrating game 1 there for Gerard. He's on the draw there. One of the things that does happen for all of these top 8s as well is that we are using one of the small rule changes I think is very wise, which is there's no more random choice about who goes first in the top 8. Instead, it's by seed. One awesome thing we do here specifically at Star City Games events, though, is we give away free Star City Games Premium, a prize that I think is a really, really excellent one if you are somebody that cares about tournament magic.
Yes.
I've been caring about tournament magic basically since, it was a couple years after I started, well, a year and a half or so after I started playing, and I got hooked, and the thing is in tournament magic, information is key, and even people that are the competitors to Star City Games have told me how critical they think StarCityGames.com's content is, and that's no joke. And it doesn't even matter if you're somebody that's curmudgeonly and you're like, I can't learn anything from StarCityGames.com. One, you're wrong, but even if you were completely right,
You're just
well,
wrong.
then the thing is that it's important to know what, let's say, Jerry Thompson has said he's playing this week, or what he has written about, because maybe you'll be playing somebody and you'll be like, oh, this is exactly Jerry Thompson's list.
Yeah.
And you'll know it, and that can make you win.
Absolutely.
So we give away 6 free months in our semifinals, which is what we're in right now, via this premium giveaway contest, which is like this. Joey has some awesome trivia questions.
I'm just going to ask you one for now.
Just one trivia question each round in the top 8s. And if you successfully can guess the correct answer to Joey Pasco's trivia question using the hashtag SCG Premium and tweeting it with that hashtag, one lucky person will be selected. It's not a speed contest. It's not the first person that gets it right, but one person will be chosen to receive 6 free months of Star City Games Premium. Remember that hashtag Joey. What is the trivia question?
So it's not in this match, but in the other match, we've got some interesting tech, and in fact, well, we'll just I have one player specifically mentioned, but I believe both players.
Yes, both players in the other match.
So we'll just stick with this player's name for the sake of the question. What innovative 1-mana black card is Richard Wynn playing in his top 8 Naya deck?
Right. What innovative 1-mana black card is Richard Wynn playing in his Naya deck?
Yeah, and just as we mentioned, a hint is his opponent, John Goss, also playing this 1-mana black card in his junk deck. So just extra little bit of information for you guys. You can look at either of those deck lists and take a guess looking at the 1 mana black cards.
Tweet your answer to hashtag SCG Premium. One person will be selected and get that six-month prize.
Yep. So speaking of SCG Premium, I just wanted to say, like, back, mid 90s, late 90s, I was always really excited to get a new Inquest magazine,
Right.
all these magazines that would come out once a month, and if you were lucky, the local bookshop had it on time, and you'd get it, and I would just read through it within a day. With SCG Premium, not just SCG Premium, but even Select, there's just daily content.
Yeah.
It's like having Inquest that just never ends
Oh,
every day.
I remember Inquest.
Yeah, so that's a lot of Magic content out there compared to the way it used to be, and SCG Premium is the best of the best.
Back to our match in progress, Gerard, Fabiano, and David Bauer have been sideboarding. And Gerard, here on the play, we saw the Syncopates, both of them. He has 2 main deck rotting in his hand. And, one of the problems with Syncopate when you're on the draw, particularly against a deck that mana accelerates, is it might just be dead the whole time.
Yeah, and it was there. He had 2 copies, essentially double mulligan there.
Now, I predict he's going to take all of those Syncopates out, and he might take out some number of his other counter spells. He is also running Psychic Strike, and basically bring in anti-graveyard cards and anti-creature cards. So I expect we're going to see Rest in Peace coming in. Ultimate Price, I would be unsurprised to see Oblivion Ring, another card that is probably going to be bringing in. And Detention Sphere, a reasonable answer to a lot with Troll.
Yeah, and on the other side of the table, David, he's looking in good shape after game 1, but he's still going to have some, very likely going to have some changes to make. He does have 1 copy of Cavern of Souls that he can bring in addition to the 1 he has main deck. Very good against counterspells that Gerard may or may not still have in his deck. He also has Obsidat, which he knows Gerard is playing, and can fight, the legend rule kind of thing, or, have an Obsidat before Gerard has an Obsidat, that kind of thing. It's a threat and an answer.
The first couple turns rolling out here, Gerard laying some lands, David Bauer laying lands as well, and following up with Avacyn's Pilgrim. He's got the lightning fast turn 2 Arbor Elf.
Did you say Avacyn's Pilgrim and then say Arbor Elf? He plays an Avacyn's Pilgrim, but that's an Arbor Elf.
Tribute to Hunger, Gerard wasting no time killing the mana accelerator of David Bauer.
If you're just joining us, you are smack dab in the middle of the semifinals. Game 2 here has just begun between Gerard, Fabiano, and David Bauer. Lingering Souls from David Bauer adds 2 spirits to the board, and Gerard, who was on the play in this game, down a game to David, is going to want to just answer pretty much everything David does. And there's, there you see, Restoration Angel mid-combat to answer one of those spirits, leaving David with just 1.
Restoration Angel, such a good card as just a pseudo removal. Yes, it can be killed. It's not pure creature removal. It can be killed before it gets its block in. But there are very few cards that actually do efficiently kill it. Abrupt Decay can't target it. 4 toughness is a very big number. So Restoration Angel, an awesome part of these Esper decks in many cases. It's not ubiquitous, but it is very common.
Part of the reason you're seeing, I think Mizzium Mortars is seeing more and more play because of that 4 toughness on the Angel. It's such a common creature to see. Mizzium Mortars able to actually take it out, as opposed to Searing Spear.
Now David Bauer here, you see him pause. He's got an Overgrown Tomb which he's putting into play for Pain. Gives him 5 mana. This means that he can actually activate his Gavany Township should he wish. But no, he is instead going for an Acidic Slime, I believe.
It is a promo Acidic Slime. Takes out a Watery Grave from Gerard.
Gerard uses that mana to Azorius Charm.
And David passes back. Gerard top decks land, plays another, passes back immediately.
Acidic Slime, a lot of people forget, is a Death Touch creature, so it can march right into that Angel.
Certainly can, and it will.
Yep, and he
all
holds
by
back
itself.
his other spirits just for fear of essentially attacking with all of the creatures, for example, would be asking to turn a spirit into 4 damage. That spirit would die, and then 4 damage would get through. And that might not be unreasonable, but he's opting instead for a creature he knows will automatically kill the Restoration Angel should it block, and leaving his spirits back for a later time.
So that gets in. Woodland Cemetery comes down for David.
5 mana. Is it going to be another Acidic Slime? Obsidat.
Obsidat, just as we mentioned, it's a threat and an answer for Gerard's Obsidat. So Obsidat resolves and then is exiled.
Gerard in a lot of trouble here now. Gerard lays his 6th land. The reason Gerard is in a lot of trouble here, there are a number of creatures in play. And so Gerard's typical answers for a card like Obsidat is going to be forcing his opponent to sacrifice it. But all of those sacrifice effects, David has so many creatures he can sacrifice instead.
Yeah, the other thing, like Gerard could Supreme Verdict and then follow it up with a sacrifice effect. That's ideally what he would like to do. Deal with everything David has, but Obsidat would obviously not be around for the Supreme Verdict.
And now Gerard finally pulls the trigger on the block. Acidic Slime and Restoration Angel trade.
Yeah, the Death Touch on the Acidic Slime takes out the Angel.
Report from the other match. John Goss wins Game 1 versus Richard Wen.
David in pretty good position here. He does, as you mentioned, have Gavany Township. Strangely, does not work very well with Obsidat. But it works well with those spirits. So
Sphinx's Revelations for 3. Thanks. Gerard has to be thanking his lucky stars to have that right now.
Yeah, the interesting thing, David Bauer, you saw, did not attack with Obsidat, fearing the Azorius Charm.
Yeah.
Which Gerard may very well have. Couldn't get a good look at his hand. But Sphinx's Revelation for 3.
All the more likely to have it now.
Yeah, you see at least a Jace Memory Adept in his hand. Pretty sure.
Gerard at 17 life, but he will be drained for 2, a virtual 15. The attack would hit him for 7 if all the creatures came through, and it could be an attack for 11 because of the Gavany Township. And that's not counting the possibility of a Restoration Angel, which would make it even more. Augur.
Yeah, Augur of Bolas from Gerard, trying to find something. I see a Jace Architect of Thought, not going to be able to grab that, but he does. He looks like he's deciding between Azorius Charm and another card. Gerard takes a look at his hand so he can determine which one he wants. And, well, I thought he was going with Azorius Charm. I think the other card is Ultimate Price. It looks like he's going with Charm. And that will likely hold off the Obsidat, assuming Gerard leaves 2 mana open because, again, David playing around the Azorius Charm last turn, and now he's certain that Gerard actually has it.
And now Gerard deciding between which lands to play. He does have a few. Now, I know that Shaheen Sarani was talking about how he did not like 4 copies of Sphinx's Revelation, but I have to say, ooh, look at that. Rest in peace. Nice.
That is some sweet artwork.
I know how he was saying he didn't like 4 copies of Sphinx's Revelation, but I have to say that I would rather have it rot in my hand a little bit on occasion and just be able to draw it all the more often in the mid-game. I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I could see either way, honestly. So yeah, you saw Rest in Peace there from Gerard to remove all graveyards from the game. That will put some of the brakes on David Bauer. He is still in great shape. You see a Grizzly Salvage there from David, and that hit Hoof. That is Crater Hoof Behemoth. It hit, I believe, an Angel of Serenity, an Avacyn's Pilgrim, and an Unburial Rites, in addition to 1 land there in the middle I didn't quite see.
Takes the Crater Hoof. That is a scary, scary card right now.
And the rest of the cards exiled, though. Just because of that Rest in Peace.
Activates Gavany Township at the end of the turn. Obsidian comes back.
So Gerard goes to 15 here. David up to 24.
It will not take much here for David to finish this.
Draws a land. He has.
That was a very good draw for David.
Yeah, he can very likely cast this Craterhoof Behemoth, barring a counterspell from Gerard or some other answer. We know he has a Azorius Charm. That's not really the best answer here, but it still may come in handy.
This might be it.
So, Godless Shrine untapped, and Craterhoof Behemoth. There it is. Exactly the right amount of mana. Craterhoof Behemoth on the stack. As you can see, a 5/5 for 8 mana. Not great value, but the text box matters. It is haste, so it's going to be attacking this turn very likely. And when it enters the battlefield, creatures you control get trample and +X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. So those creatures are getting +5/+5 and trample. So Gerard basically needs to keep this from even hitting play, and I don't think he has an answer.
I don't think he has counterspells in his deck after sideboard.
He needs Syncopate.
Yes.
Strangely enough, the Syncopates that rotted in his hand the entire game 1, and pretty much were part of the reason that he had fewer answers last game, would be quite handy right now. So you can see he's got a Tribute to Hunger, I think.
Tribute to Hunger in response, what he can do is he can make the pluses be a little smaller.
Yeah, I don't
gain a
think
little bit of
enough,
life,
but
I think it's still too few.
So, and the
does he even have any
too.
black mana available? I think there's a Godless Shrine in there, but I can't tell because of the glare.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody in. Okay, so Gerard is going to Tribute to Hunger in response.
This does mean the creatures are big, so he will be gaining, in this case, 7 life when that creature goes away.
So so there's a huge life swing right there. We'll see if Gerard's able to get out of this. In fact, Tribute to Hunger may have been the very best card he could have had there, besides a counterspell for the hoof. So he gains 7, as you mentioned, goes up to 22. Tribute to Hunger gains life equal to the creature's toughness. One of those spirits is down. Obsidian can be blocked, and will be, by the Augur of Bolas, who will soak up 3 damage, but it's apparently still not enough yet. A 10/10, 2 7/7s getting in there, and Gerard falls here in the semifinals, 2 games to 0 to David Bauer. That, I think, those were the. It seemed to me, after watching Gerard a number of times yesterday, that he was just short on answers in both of these games.
Yeah,